had some technical difficulties. Hello, everyone. We had some technical difficulties. Thanks. I hope you're hanging around. I'm Dara Bunjon. I'm the food enthusiast at J. Moore, publicist, writer, and frustrated baker. So what have you cooked this week or baked this week? Just for purpose's sake, I've done a niçoise salad, chicken soup, chocolate cake with marshmallow peppermint icing. Before I forget, I want to advise you to stick around after our interview to talk about the Great Big Jewish Food Fest. So today's guest is Cathy Ferguson, who will enlighten you on multiple options available from one of Baltimore's leading caterers, the Classic Catering People. You've seen numerous recipes from Chef Cathy Ferguson on our jmoreliving.com page. During Passover, she did the matzah brittle recipe, or we call it matzah crack, matzah tiramisu, and also a peach and blueberry galette. Today we'll be talking with a little bit of alliteration, picnic, pantry, and pastry. Welcome, Chef Cathy Ferguson, and thanks for putting up with these technical difficulties and sticking it out.
It's good to see you. Thank you.
Good to see you. It was just, every week there's something new with this process. We might have to change to another program. You've been with Classic Catering People for 4 years. Tell us a bit about your background.
I was a military brat. We moved around a lot when I was younger. My dad retired here in Maryland, so I've been here since I was a teenager. I went to culinary school at Baltimore International Culinary College, and I've worked in the Baltimore, Washington area for the last 20 years in various hotels and private clubs. And I worked for Governor O'Malley for 8 years, and I've been with Classic for the last 4 years, and I'm loving it. I'm happy to be continuously working as a pastry chef. So
in these times, yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm always curious as to what is the inspiration to go into culinary, and for you, why culinary? Why the sweet side?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think it sounds cliche, but I think like a lot of people, I grew up with my grandmother and my mother baking and cooking. My grandmother was very much a foodie and was always interested in having the latest kitchen gadget and trying new recipes. And I remember just as a kid watching her and helping her. And my mother cooks and bakes a lot and even makes bread. So she doesn't even measure anything. She just uses her hands, and by feel, she's done it so much. So I think my mother is from Guam, and I was born in Guam, and that culture is very food centered. So it's not uncommon for people to cook and just have big meals and have a big family gather around. So there was a lot of cooking and a lot of experience helping out in the kitchen where I was needed. And I just love the creative side of being a pastry chef and creating something that visually wows people and finishes off a meal with leaving a good impression and something that they remember as they walk out. I enjoy it.
That's great. Pastry has always been a challenge for me, and we talked about it during our phone conversation. I had asked you, what was your epic fail? And you said an apple tartane. And I said, I had one too.
You were excited to hear me say that.
And as I say in my introduction, I'm a very frustrated baker because it is a particular science. And, I'm sort of like mom and grandma. I like to throw things in, and measuring, and flour really should be done by weight. And then all purpose has a different weight than natural unbleached flour. It gets too technical for me, but I seem to manage. Maybe you can tell people what an apple tartane is.
This was when I was a lot younger. I worked for a private club, and that was one of our desserts. And it's we did it in a cast iron pan, and you caramelize sugar until it's lightly golden, and then you have peeled and sliced apples, and you arrange them in the bottom of the cast iron pan on the sugar, and then let it cook so the apples are tender, and then it gets covered with a circle of puff pastry dough and then baked in the oven. And then it gets inverted when it comes out of the oven and flipped upside down. So ideally, you're supposed to have this beautiful fanned out pattern of caramelized apples, golden and delicious. It sounds easy enough, but there's such a time sensitive window to get the apples in the pan and cook them, and just that was one of my most frustrating desserts that it took a few tries to really master, and have it look right and not be too soupy and have everything cooked correctly. So that was one of my most memorable challenges, to get it perfect.
As we talked, my failure. Nobody knew what they were supposed to get, so I broke it up in bowls and put ice cream on it and whipped cream, and they said, "Oh, that's so good."
That's right.
But the butter hadn't caramelized; it was too runny.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. I think a lot of people get intimidated by baking, but there is some leeway. Like you said, what you did was brilliant. You just put it in dishes, served ice cream, and then you call it something else, or there you can still be creative and utilize it. It'll still taste delicious. Maybe it's not what you planned, but we've gotten creative with things that didn't turn out the way we wanted to, and then they end up being favorites and people love them. So
you go, what did I do wrong? I got to remember it.
Yeah.
Right? I don't want to lose track here and remind people that you're with the Classic Catering People, the people in the green trucks that you see around town. Yeah. And we have picnic, pantry, and pastry to cover with you. And we have Memorial Day coming up. And what is Classic Catering offering? We're saying picnic, it's a family, you're out back, you set up the barbecue, whatever, but think outdoors. What is Classic offering in curbside, or you're doing delivery at a certain?
We are doing some delivery, and then mostly curbside pickup, where contact-free curbside pickup. We instruct people to pop their trunk when they pull up, so somebody puts it in their trunk. Everything is prepackaged, so it's sanitary and not going to contaminate anything else. But we have a lot of the classic favorites, burgers. We also have a good crab dip. So one of my favorites is the corn souffle, which is really delicious. So we also do, in the past, we would cater big events off-site. I think a lot of people who are going to barbecue in their backyard can either get a prepared meal packaged by us that they just put out and it's ready to go. You can also buy kits with all of the meats and the hamburgers and the hot dogs if you want to pick that up and just grill it yourself. So we have a couple of different options. We're taking orders until noon tomorrow for this weekend's summer barbecue menu. So
I'm looking, barbecued baby back ribs.
Yes.
I have the menu that I ran off.
Yeah.
All kinds of kebabs, grilled salmon.
Yes. And then our we have our favorites. Our crab cakes are always popular. Everybody loves those. Maple glazed baked beans. So some of the classic favorites, and then we have some fun and unusual things that people like a watermelon and feta salad, which is really delicious. If you never tried that combination, that's a good summer dish to me. That's just when the weather's warm. It's refreshing.
Right. And, they can pick it up, uncook, and cook it themselves and have all the prep, or you can do it and they just reheat. As
well as other items. that we can pick up, since maybe somebody doesn't want to necessarily go to the grocery store to put themselves in harm's way, or if you have older parents you're looking after, you could send them a box of we have kitchen staples, pantry staples, with everything from fresh produce and different cuts of meat. We have a baking kit. Everybody seems to be baking bread and making sourdough starters, so we sell yeast and flour and butter,
Yeah.
in addition to
That
our catering menu.
that yeast,
It's in demand.
it is in demand, and people go out after for it. Luckily in the catering firms, people have bought blocks or breaking it down. So if they want to do that, I'm sort of trying to stay away from breads. It was definitely bad on the birthday cake that I talked about. But doing that, and the pantry items, like you said, let's talk pastry. Let's talk about what you're offering. You have some kits to keep the kids entertained. Why don't you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, everybody is in the same boat. We're all kind of spending more time at home, and sometimes a lot of parents are working from home and they have their kids homeschooling as well. So we have cookie kits that are available with everything measured out for everything you need. All you have to do is put it together in the mixer. It's something that the kids can easily do to keep them occupied, and make a couple dozen cookies. And we have 4 different kinds: chocolate chip, an oatmeal raisin. We have a gluten-free cookie kit with coconut and chocolate chips, and we have an M&M brownie kit that you can buy also. And they come in nice quart-sized mason jars and everything you need. So if you're looking for something to keep the kids busy just for a little bit, that's a good idea.
You were talking about you have ice cream that you'll send along, and they can do like ice cream sandwiches and decorate. Tell me more.
We do. We have an ice cream sandwich kit that's pretty popular. It's we give you 2 types of cookies, and we give you the ice cream already made, and then some fun toppings that you can sandwich them together, however flavor combination you want, and then put fun toppings around the sides, and you have your own ice cream sandwich, and you can make them to order whenever you want to feel like having one. So that's kind of a fun idea. And I think we're all excited for the warmer weather. So some things really just say summer and
at least
outside.
get outside.
Yeah.
As I was telling you, I just had my little birthday celebration. And friends came over. I had chairs and I sprayed them, and they were set apart, but they were so happy to see other people.
Right.
They were out on the lawn, and they got some of the birthday cake because I didn't want to have to eat it all that I made. But yes, I mean, people are dying to get out. People who never walked before saying, "Oh, when's the good weather? I want to get out. I want to," the need to see other people and interact. Whereas you're probably working quite a bit at Classic with all that's going on, and you're seeing people at work and keeping your sanitized safety distance, but you get to talk with people, us who are locked in, other than
especially
going
working from home, and or living alone and working from home, where you have no social interaction or very little. It's true, because we see people, or a lot of people are doing video calls, and I love that more people are baking at home and trying new recipes, maybe trying old favorites or experimenting and trying new recipes that they never would have thought before. People have more time. So I like that everybody's trying to cook more.
What do you think is the most common baking error that home cooks make?
I think first it intimidates a lot of people to try to bake. And so I have friends who say, I can't make a pie crust. I'm not gonna try. I don't even want to attempt it. But I think it's not, it sounds intimidating when you talk about having to weigh and measure everything out. But in reality, if you just have fun with it, and if you try something and follow the recipe, if it doesn't come out for some reason, then we talked about the options of, if you're making some cookies and you don't really like the way they come out, you can crumble them up and put them over ice cream, or, you can just switch it up a little bit. You can still be creative. It is a science. Baking is a science because everything is weighed and measured, and there are a lot of variables. But if you just pick something that you really like, you don't have to necessarily perfect everything. But if you have an interest in pies, then pick one thing and really try to repeat making it so that you get really good at it. Just have fun with it, not to be too intimidated or too afraid to just get your hands dirty and get in there and, make something that you think is interesting. And now with so much information online, there's a lot more tutorials available on YouTube that you could easily watch. So I think just have fun with it.
Certain things it's still a matter of touch. I'm a little bit intimidated with the pie crust. That's why I go with the graham cracker crust or things of that nature. Yeah. But I usually in pies, I just like the filling anyhow, so it doesn't matter. What was it? It might have been Food and Wine. They had for one Christmas, I did this apple pie that was like yay high, and I went, okay, it tastes good. It tastes like an apple pie, but for all the time I put into it, I went, is it worth it? Yeah. So, that goes on. Just to remind people, we are talking with Cathy Ferguson, who is a chef at the Classic Catering People. And we were talking about ordering for picnics, curbside, whatever. If you need to reach Classic, it's just, the webpage is classiccatering.com. You can order online. You can call at 410-356-1666. And I thank you, Cathy, for joining us on the show and being patient. It looks like just my internet service went down. Happens every week. Something new happens, but we were able to pull it through. Hopefully next week I don't have a crisis.
I think
again.
You're going to have this down. You're going to be really good at this and have everything.
Well, if this happens, this is what you do. This happens, that's what you do. And we go forward. Anything else that you'd like to add about Classic Catering people should know? Yeah,
I'm really proud to work for a company that is not only adapting and adjusting to these unprecedented times that everybody is going through, but I think, we really have put a lot of individual attention into menus or just trying to meet our clients' needs as they're changing. We are known for these gala dinners for, hundreds and hundreds of people and formal affairs, but we do everything from now, especially from intimate dinners for two prepackaged to be delivered to office lunches, catered box lunches for essential workers who are still in their workplace but can't go out for lunch. I'm just really happy the way we've all all the chefs and the people here really communicate with each other to throw ideas around to see what would be the best thing to offer to our clients. And we're trying to be very mindful of, we've always been very sanitary. We're all Serve Safe certified, and it's one of the cleanest kitchens I've ever worked in. But trying to package things so that people don't have to be worried about cross-contamination. So things are individually wrapped, or there's a lot of care being placed into the way we're presenting food to protect our clients. And I think it's interesting, just the unique ways to come up and change what we've been doing to suit the times that we're in, and going forward, how it's going to evolve. So I'm impressed with the way everything has been handled and what we're doing.
I have One more question
Yeah.
for you. Any advice to someone who is looking to go into pastry?
Mm-hmm. I get that a lot. I love it if you have a passion for it. There is a big difference between making things at home for your friends and family rather than in a professional setting, especially here where it's such high volume. But it's rewarding. And if you like what you do, then it's even more so. Um, it's a lot of long hours and holidays and weekends. So that's something that I think a lot of people aren't really aware of in the food industry before they get into it. Where you're working when everybody else is celebrating because you're catering to them. But there's also so much you can learn in cooking, savory cooking or pastry. There's always new things, new ways to do things. You can always learn. There's always new techniques or new ideas. So that's what I like about it. It's not stagnant. It's really, you can really grow as much as you want to and try new things and creatively. It's great. Yeah.
Well, Cathy Ferguson, thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Let you bow out, get back to work, because there are a lot of hungry people out there who want some fabulous food from Classic Catering People. Mm-hmm. And I told everybody to stick around because I'm going to talk about the great big Jewish food fest that is going on now. Yes. And it is Jewish food. Be down underneath. It ends May 28th, and you sit at a virtual table. Let me tell you some of the presenters. It's free. They are looking for donations. I'll fill you in on that. But here are some of the presenters. Michael Solomonov from Philadelphia, from Zahav, which is a modern Israeli restaurant, and James Beard chef. Joan Nathan, who we all know from her Jewish cooking series on PBS. Michael Chwit, the African-American Jewish food writer and culinary historian. Gail Simmons, food expert and top chef, judge, cookbook author. Adina Sussman, who is a food writer and cookbook author from Tel Aviv. Ruth Reichel, famous restaurant critic from Gourmet Magazine, now the LA Times, food editor. Dara Goldstein, yes, there's another Dara in this world. She uses 2 R's. Founding editor of Gastronomica, the Journal of Food and Culture. Claudia Rodin, the Book of Jewish Food. Locally, Mendel Davis. He had a black dad, an Egyptian mom, and is Jewish multiracial. There are plenty of rabbis. I mean, something going on all the time. And no matter how you identify, no matter how strong your options are, it might be about Jewish food. Is it a heavy matzo ball or light matzo ball? There's something for everyone. Join them at the table for coming up is a Shabbat cook along, a live podcast taping, cooking demos, learn how to document your family recipes, and hear about the state of the restaurant industry. You can check your inboxes daily and see the list of the events going on. Let me tell you what's going on today at 5:30 in the kitchen, a Shavuot in a Sephardic kitchen, bread of the 7 heavens. There's recipes galore. At 8 p.m. tonight, it's Food Times Identity, Michael Twitty in a conversation. Friday, Family Kitchen, creating your own crazy challah. Many things. And at 1 p.m. tomorrow on the main stage will be the Great Big Shabbat Cook-Along, hosted by Gail Simmons, Michael Solomonov, Adina Sussman, and Annette Adamy. They're going to be doing hummus. They're going to be doing braised chicken with olives and citrus, joled rice, tahini glazed carrots. This is all free. There's 4 or 5 seminars every day, even a happy hour. So let me go back to this. It is the Great Big Jewish Food Fest, jewishfoodfest.org. And it's every day now through May 28th. You can sit at the virtual table. And as I said, they ask that you make a donation. You could be to the Jewish Food Society. It could be the James Beard Foundation or the JDC, Funds to Provide Aid for the Vulnerable, Maison, a Jewish Response for Hunger, Repair the World Spring into Solidarity Campaign for the Food Justice. Pick one, all five, and let them make it, break up the donation. But great fun, great people to learn from and be involved with. So the Great Big Jewish Food Fest, jewishfoodfest.org. Go to it, sign up, and join in. Again, I apologize for the technical difficulties. It looks like my internet went out. Thank you, Comcast. And I'm Dara Bunjon. I'm the Food Enthusiast. I'm here every Thursday at 12:30. Come heck or high water or lack of internet connection, we make it work. You can find me at jmoreliving.com. You'll find the videos up there of the show and also on the Facebook page, jmore. And you can email me at food@jmoreliving.com. Have a great week. May your plates always remain full. Take care.